NFL fans, welcome back to a brand new episode of the J All Day Sports Show. I'm here with my dad, Tommy the Tombert. We are just getting back from our road trip across the country, and today we're going to give you our spread picks. All 16 games, a monster slate. This dude absolutely crushed the spread picks.
Getting a steak dinner.
He kicked my butt. He went 9-4 or something like that. 9-3 or 8-5. I forget what it was exactly, but he kicked my butt. I only got like 6 right against the spread. I was terrible last week, guys. But this week we've got a ton of really exciting games. I cannot wait to talk to you guys about this week. We're going to give you all 16 games, our picks against the spread. Let's get into it. All right, NFL fans, thank you so much for tuning into this spread picks video. Me and my dad are going to give you spread picks for this week. Just getting back from our road trip an hour ago. LA to Philly in 5 days. Now we're here to give you the best spread picks we can to help you guys beat the spread. Okay, this week, the first game we're going to kick off is a doozy. This is a great game.
It's going to be a good game.
Denver Broncos, LA Chargers. Both of these teams are fighting for a playoff spot, right? But both of these teams didn't look great last week. The LA Chargers got smoked by Baker Mayfield. He looks really good, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's playing pretty good. I think it's going to be a tough game.
I wouldn't want to play the Buccaneers going forward, right? They kicked the snot out of the Chargers. The Chargers are playing at home. The Denver Broncos took on the Colts last week at home. They didn't look great. Bo Nix really struggled in the first half, kind of came along as the game played out. Two really good coaches, Harbaugh versus Sean Payton. This is going to be as close as it gets. I think Vegas is kind of right on the money spread-wise. But for me, I'm going with the Denver Broncos in the 2.5 points. I think this is going to be a close game. And if Denver won, I wouldn't be completely surprised because the Denver Broncos kind of play a similar game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? They play decent offense, but tough, aggressive defense, right? What are your thoughts on this game, Denver Broncos versus the Chargers?
The Chargers, they come along, they're playing better. But the Broncos are pretty tough. I like their defense.
Yeah, the Denver Broncos plays tough defense, and the Chargers are kind of limited offensively. They have the rookie Ladd McConkey, the slot receiver, who can run all the routes in the tree. He's probably the best route runner in this class. He's extremely efficient. Is the Denver Broncos good outside cornerbacks going to travel with him? We'll have to see. But I'm going with the Denver Broncos in the plus 2.5. Where you going?
I'm going with the Chargers.
Right.
They win it outright.
All right, we're going to see. All right, that's going to be a lot of fun game. One of my favorite games of the week, actually kicking it off on Thursday Night Football. This week, we have 2 Saturday games, guys. Houston Texans taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Can the Kansas City Chiefs win without Patrick Mahomes? If I'm the Chiefs, I'm probably sitting him. They have one of the better backup quarterbacks in the NFL, Carson Wentz. And what Carson Wentz does really well is kind of similar to what Patrick Mahomes does really well, right? He can run outside the pocket. He can create out of structure a little bit. So to me, I like the Chiefs in this spot. They've been playing really good defense, and the Texans are just so heavily penalized. They're just playing sloppy football, man.
The Chiefs probably will win this game, but I think Wentz, he probably throw a couple picks in this game.
Yeah, I don't know what the Chiefs' strategy is going to be in this game because they have Pacheco back. So do you just kind of run the ball a lot in this game, try to pound it down the Texans' throat? But the secondary for the Texans hasn't been great. But the Chiefs don't beat a lot of teams by 3.5 points, right? Pretty much all of their games are like field goals or less. So what are you doing? You're going to take the Houston Texans and the 3.5 points. If I was betting this game, I might buy the 1.5 to get to 5 and then be at minus 160 odds. That's what I would probably do, guys. But for me, I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs and given the 3.5 points. What are you going to do, Tommy?
I got to take the Chiefs too. I think, Holmes should be sitting. He's a little banged up. He got banged up pretty good the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, the high ankle sprain, right? So 2 weeks ago, he got the shit kicked out of him too. So that's a concern for me. If I'm Andy Reid, I'm probably going to sit Mahomes, go with Carson Wentz. But the Texans are very good at home, but they're not good at all. They've got their ass kicked a bunch of times on the road, right? So that's why I think we're going to both go with the Chiefs and the -3.5, right?
Yeah, you got to go with the Chiefs.
All right, next up, we have another really fun game, guys. A division game. Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens. The Steelers got the snot kicked out of them by our Eagles. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! All right, guys, who wins this game? The 6-point spread seems like a pretty big spread to me. The Steelers very well could win this game. We got to keep our eye on George Pickens, right? In my opinion, he's easily a top 10 wide receiver, potentially even in the top 5. And we've seen, especially last week versus the Birds, they really missed George Pickens. They had no really any wide receiver step up in place of Pickens. They're going to the tight ends a lot, trying to run the ball. But that wasn't super effective versus the Eagles' defense. And you know the Ravens are probably going to watch that tape, right?
Oh, absolutely. The Ravens they're a good team. I don't think they're going to cover the 6 points, though. That's a lot of points. And I think the Steelers...
Especially with division games, 6 points is a lot.
Steelers need this big win.
Especially, like I was saying in the last game, if you buy the 1.5 and go up to that -150 range, the Steelers at +7.5 seems pretty juicy to me. But straight up, oh man, you gonna go with the Steelers in the +6?
I'm going with the Steelers. I think the game's going to be within 3 points.
So I don't know if George Pickens is going to be 100% healthy. So that's why I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens at home. The Steelers' offense has kind of looked stagnant the last couple weeks. Very predictable offensively. They're passing to the tight ends and running the ball. They're not doing a lot else, right? And we saw that they're very beatable in the past. They're pretty good against the run, but we've seen games a few weeks ago against the Giants. They got shredded by Tyron Tracy and a very mediocre offensive line. So I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens in -6. Tom Bird's going to go with the Steelers and +6 in this spot. We'll see who wins.
Yeah. Another steak dinner.
All right, yeah, I'm trying to win this steak dinner back, guys. I'm going to make another video of taking Tom Bird out on the steak. I'm a man of my word. He's going to get whatever steak he wants, the porterhouse, the T-bone, you name it. It's on me. All right, next up. We got our Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Commanders in Washington. Pretty much Washington is like Philadelphia South. I think there's going to be a lot of Birds fans in the stadium. And the Eagles are, a Detroit Lions loss away from being the #1 seed. So this is a must-win game for the Birds. They did a really good job handling Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin earlier in the year. And if I'm a Washington Commanders fan, I need to see someone else step up in this offense. Terry McLaurin cannot do everything. He's the only real weapon in this offense. Zach Ertz is old. They can run the ball a little bit with Austin Eckler, who's been banged up, and Brian Robinson Jr., but there hasn't been that second option in the passing game that's really stepped up for the Commanders. It kind of limits what they can do offensively. And Vic Fangio. Talk a little bit about Vic Fangio and what he's done to this defense.
He's done a really good job. I think that he's just got to watch these deep plays.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin is a deep threat, right? So rookie Quinyon Mitchell, is probably going to be shadowing him for the game. That's what I would do. And Quinyon Mitchell is like the only cornerback in the NFL who's played over 400 snaps that still has yet to give up a touchdown. It's pretty remarkable what he's done as a rookie. He's a true shutdown #1 cornerback. He's been unbelievable. Cooper DeJean had that big fumble. We were listening to the game on the radio as we were driving through. I don't even know where the hell we were.
Colorado.
Yeah, we were in Colorado.
Through the mountains.
Driving through the mountains, trying to pick up the radio feed. And then we picked it up and Cooper DeJean fumbled that punt. So he's got to focus a little bit on that. If I'm the Eagles, I'm probably trying to find someone else to return kicks and let Cooper DeJean focus on playing defense, right? I think the Eagles cover the 3.5 points. I think they cover 5 or 7 points. I think the Eagles dominate this game. I think they easily cover this 3.5 point spread.
I think the Eagles win it, but I think Washington's going to play pretty good because it's tough to win 2 teams, beat them twice in one season. And they need it. Washington needs the win to
stay alive in the playoff hunt. Yeah, it's a big game for both of these teams. I'm going with the Eagles in -3.5. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm going with the Eagles with 3.5. But I thought the spread would be bigger, maybe 5.
5.5, yeah, something like that. I think 3.5. I'm curious of why Vegas has it so low. That's kind of confusing for me. But both of us are going with the Birds and -3.5. Next up, Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals. All right, Jameis Winston has been terrible. He got benched. They're starting some other bum cornerback. His name is escaping me right now, but he's terrible too. Cincinnati Bengals, they're pretty much eliminated from the playoffs, right? They can stay alive with a win here and some other losses. But, man, that defense is so bad.
That's atrocious. Yeah, I don't understand how they put up all these points, the Bengals.
And the defense, it's not like the defense is on the field a lot because the offense is like driving the length of the field all the time. It's not like they're tired or anything. So it's like, schematically, you got to change something up. Or if these guys can't cut it, go bring some guys off the couch. Look what the Detroit Lions are. 21 guys on IR and they're still winning games. Like, that's what a good GM does. He kind of puts these players on the practice squad that are ready to play, itching to play, come in when they get the opportunity and smash someone's face in. And the Bengals defense...
Swiss cheese. They have more holes in that defense than Swiss cheese.
It's crazy, man. They're so bad. I'm going with the Bengals in this spot, but 7.5 points is a huge number.
I'm going with the Browns with the 7.5.
Oh, God. What do I do here, guys? What do we do? He's going with the Browns and the +7.5. I got to go with Joey Burrow. So I'm thinking that, and the Browns defense is pretty good-ish. They've kind of regressed a little bit, but I'm thinking Joe Burrow hangs up a 28-32 burger on him, right? You think? Yeah. Can the Browns score 20 points? I'm not sure about that. So I'm going to go with the Bengals and the big number. I'm not excited about. This is another spot. Buying a 1.5, getting it down to 6 points looks a lot better than 7.5, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. But the Bengals, they're terrible, their defense.
Yeah, they suck.
Burrow can score 100 points and they'll still lose the game 102-100.
Yeah, they suck, man. All right, next up. Detroit Lions on the road versus another struggling team. What if the Bears lost like 9 damn games in a row? It's a shit show there. And some games, it's like, oh, you see that little glimmer of like, this is what this team can be. They could be decent, right? And then the wheels just fall off. They start with the penalties, pre-snap penalties. I feel like every goddamn game, they're 1st and 15. 1st and 20. It's just like, geez Louise, what the hell is going on there, man? The coaching is piss poor, and you can have all the good players in the world. It just shows you how important good quality NFL coaching is and how hard it is to get, guys. Just look what Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Lions, is doing, and the head coach of the Lions just dominating with these guys coming off the couch. It's very, very impressive. I'm taking the Lions in the 6.5 all day long.
The Lions are a very good team, but they're banged up big time.
21 guys on IR. It's unbelievable. They
lost 4 guys last week.
They lost the D tackle, the names are escaping me. They lost the slot corner, and they lost David Montgomery, their star running back. It's unbelievable. Luckily, they have another running back that's very, very talented, but at some point, the rubber has to meet the road, right? Something's got to break. Right?
Something's going to break here. I'm going to stick my neck out. I'm going to go with the Bears with the spread.
Covering the spread?
6.5. But I'd buy the extra 1.5.
Go up to like -150 to get, 8 points. Yeah, it's probably a little better that way. But the Bears don't really, but okay, this is another point that Tom Burt, I think, is on to, is that Jared Goff is playing outside in the freezing ass cold in Chicago. So does that limit Jared Goff? This is really going to be interesting to see how he plays in these conditions this late in the year, right? Because if they got to go to Philadelphia playing outside in the championship game, Jared Goff might freeze his little damn fingers off and get his ass kicked in that game. We really got to keep our eye on how Jared Goff performs in this spot. He's outside, division game, cold weather. I know it's the Bears, but, the +6.5 or the +8 if you buy it, not a bad bet. All right, guys, I'm going with the Lions. Tommy's going with the Bears. All right, next up, we got another 1 o'clock game. LA Rams taking on the Jets. Man, that Jets defense, what the hell is going on?
They flip coins. They show up sometimes, and then they just go out to lunch.
And then, like last year, they were such a dominant defense, even with Zach Wilson at the quarterback position, who's a dumpster fire. And this year, they fired Robert Saleh, and this defense just has not looked. They were even struggling when Robert was there, but since he left, it's been horrible. They can't rush the quarterback. They have all this talent and they can't play together. Aaron Rodgers looked horrible in the first half, but in the second half really came alive. I think Devontae Adams had 9 catches for 190 yards. That you see that little glimmer, you're like, oh, this is what Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams can do together. But can they do it consistently, right? They haven't done it consistently all year long, right? You see that little glimmer of hope and you're like, oh, this is what this team can be. But if you don't play defense, it doesn't really matter, right? The Rams offensively look pretty damn good. They had that big win on Thursday night over San Francisco. I'm going with the Rams to cover the 3.5, I think.
I agree. I did do the Rams. Because you don't know who's going to show up with the Jets.
Yeah.
They're half the time they're all out to lunch.
I just feel like there's some business decisions being made. These guys are like, I don't want to get hurt playing in this losing season with nothing to play for, right? Like, I'm going to wait till next year to risk my body to, for something that actually potentially can matter. Right now, their season's over. They're just playing for fun, I guess. I don't know what they're not playing for anything. They're not playing for each other. That's for damn sure. And the Rams are in first place in the NFC West. And it's a tough race. And they need to win this game. So Matt Stafford and the boys need to show up. They have the good young pass rushers. The Rams do, led by Jared Verse. I'm taking the Rams in the -3.5.
We're choosing a lot the same. I like the Rams with the 3.5. I think they win this game down easily.
Yeah, I mean, the -3.5 is, I don't know. That seems crazy to me. All right, this is a very interesting game, too. Arizona Cardinals at Carolina Panthers. The Arizona Cardinals are still alive in the NFC West as well. But, man, can we get Trey McBride a touchdown, Kyler Murray? What the F is going on? Trey McBride, in my opinion, he might be the best tight end in the NFL. The fact that he has 900 yards, no touchdowns. What the hell is the offensive coordinator doing, dude? Draw up some plays. Was it last week or the week before? They didn't even throw Trey McBride the ball to the second half. What are you doing?
He gets them down there, and then he goes awful.
It makes no sense. The Carolina Panthers came back to earth against the Cowboys last week. The Cowboys pass rush really got there. Budda Baker just re-signed a 3-year deal. He's looked great. For the last 1.5, 2 years, him coming back from that neck injury, he hasn't looked as good. But this year, it looks like the old Budda Baker. He looks really, really impressive. Bryce Young kind of came back down to earth. This is a must-win game for the Cardinals. Their defense, the Panthers' defense, that is still not very good. I like the Arizona Cardinals to win this game and easily cover the spread. I think they win by 10+. I'm taking the Cardinals in the -4.5.
You got to take the 4.5, -4.5, and give it to them.
And a must-win game for the Cardinals if they want to keep their season alive. It's a must-win game. Because if something happens and Aaron Rodgers gets hot, he's cooking. The Rams are on the road, right? Traveling across the country. So they could lose that game. So the Arizona Cardinals...
Puts them right in the driver's seat.
They got to come to play, right? I'm going with the Cardinals. All right, next up, another dumpster fire game. Giants, Falcons. Okay. Kirk Cousins just got benched. We were watching that game in the hotel room, and we were just like, oh my God, Kirk Cousins. It's like somebody flipped the switch on his back to it's like good Kirk Cousins and shitty Kirk Cousins. And someone flipped the switch to shitty Kirk Cousins, and he's been awful. The last 6 games, he looks clueless. I don't know what the hell's going on. With all those weapons, how good did Bijan Robinson look, the running back? He had a great game.
He threw that lollipop up last week. It was like, what are you throwing it for? He's afraid to get sacked. He's the old Chuck and Duck.
Yeah, and the Giants are just so bad. But I'm going with the Giants in the +8.5. The Falcons haven't been beaten, and they have just not looked good at all. Michael Penix Jr., the rookie, is starting his first NFL game. And I know it's at home, but there's always going to be those jitters, man. The Giants are without Dexter Lawrence. Who the hell knows who's going to be the quarterback? It's probably going to be Tom Burt. But
probably do a better job.
8.5 is a big number. Buying some points to get that to 10 is interesting as well. I don't know. The Falcons just haven't shown me anything. Maybe they get some juice and get rejuvenated. But I think 8.5 points is screaming like a garbage time touchdown for the Giants when the game's over and they
cover the
spread. I'm taking the Giants in the 8.5.
Yeah, 8.5. But yeah, like you say, the Giants, they're pretty... Not a good team.
They're hurt. They're
Not a
hurt.
good team.
They're hurt and terrible.
And I gotta go.
Michael Penix Jr. is a lot of fun at Washington. He balled out, dude. He was very, very impressive. He's got a big live arm, and the Giants secondary sucks. Giant donkey balls. So Penix could.
Wow, that's a lot.
Penix could ball out, man. They got some threats down the field. Kyle Pitts, the tight end, Drake London. They got some weapons, man. But 8.5 is a big number for a team that's not been playing good. And an Atlanta Falcons team that has no pass rush at all. The worst pass rush in the NFL.
Well, the Giants ain't got much of a passing game anyway, so they
Yeah.
don't really need it. But they're a little tough to run on. But if Cousin,
He's not playing.
he benched him.
Yeah, he got benched. It's Michael Penix Jr., the rookie, so
I'm gonna give the rookie a shot. I'm gonna give the 8.5 and take the rookie because there were so many plays that were open last week and
just left on the table. Yeah, just left on the table.
It was terrible.
He's got the happy feet a little bit when the pass rush comes in. All right, guys. Next up, we got the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts. Will Levis, the quarterback, has been benched. It looks like Mason Rudolph is going to start for the Titans. He played okay, taking over for Will Levis through pick 6. I think he had 3 interceptions. The Colts got out to an early lead and then squandered it. The Colts play a lot better at home than on the road. Anthony Richardson is going to play a lot better in home, not in the freezing ass cold, in the thin air in Denver, right? So I'm taking the Colts in the -3.5, in my opinion. I think Jonathan Taylor, he did one of those hoop-de-hoops. I'm running in the end zone, and I think I'm in, and I dropped the ball, and they lost points for that. So I'm going to go with the Colts. I think they get their shit together a little bit and cover the 3.5.
Yeah, the Colts are decent at home. I got to go with the Colts myself. Titans don't show me much at all.
Yeah, they look awful. They're poorly coached. They're just not playing together as a team. They're all a bunch of individuals.
They're playing as individuals.
Yeah.
My stats, not a team unit.
They're just trying to do too much. I don't know. I like Jonathan Taylor and the Colts to cover the 3.5. Both of us are going that way. All right, next up, guys. We got the Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks. This is going to be a great game. Geno Smith got knocked out of that game, and then Sam Howell came in, and he was horrible. He was throwing picks. He's the guy who threw that terrible pick in the end. Sam Howell sucks. I don't know how he's on an NFL roster. The Vikings are on the road. Sam Darnold has his ups and downs too. He's not perfect, right? But it all depends if Geno Smith plays. Because Seattle's tough to play in, man. It's like the shitty, cold, wet, damp weather. It's kind of windy there.
That's nasty.
I don't know if Sam Darnold can perform there. I'm going with the Seahawks in the +3.
I'm going with the Vikings.
They are the better team.
The
But
Vikings.
I'm not going to go with the Seahawks if there's no Geno Smith. If it's Sam Howell, I'm taking the Vikings all day. But the reports I've been reading are saying Geno Smith is probably going to play. It was kind of a bullshit thing. He looked fine to go back into the game. The NFL is obviously being very cautious with head injuries, as they should be, right? But I like the Seahawks at home +3. Tom Bird's going with the Vikings and -3. Next up on the slate, we got another fun division game, the Patriots versus the Buffalo Bills. We're kicking off the 4:25 kickoff games. The spread's huge. It's 14 points, but Josh Allen has looked like straight Superman. He's the MVP of the NFL, guys. It's not even close. He's extremely impressive.
Oh, he's putting up 40 points
Every single game, man.
It's just like...
It's insane. Beating Detroit at home like that was unbelievably impressive.
And I think they backed off at the end of the game.
And then let them back in the game a
Let
little
them
bit.
back in the game. But when they had to play hard ball, they played it.
And then James Cook, the running back for the Bills, also looked really good. All the receivers are healthy. Keon Coleman's back. Khalil Shakir, Amari Cooper. They're stacked, man.
They're pretty one of the healthiest teams out there right now. Them and the Birds are a little banged up, but they're both pretty healthy.
They just look really good. I think I'm taking Buffalo in the -14, as crazy as that sounds.
I'm going with the Bills with -14.
But, Patriots fans, it's not all doom and gloom. I do like what Drake May's been putting on tape. He's working outside the numbers really good. He's working the middle of the field with some of those, comeback routes, some of those slants, some of those crossers. He's also throwing the great out routes, the 15-yard outs, the whip routes. He looks like he can throw all the routes in the route tree. So, Patriots fans, it might take a little while because the offensive line sucks and they have no weapons. But I think Drake May is someone you could build around a little bit. He's big, tall, physical guy.
Well, it's a little bit of a rival game, the Patriots and the Bills.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens, but I think the Bills just dominate. But 14 points is a big spread. From a betting perspective, I wouldn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole. I love the Bills, but minus 14,
Tease it down.
That's a big egg there. All right, guys, another fun game. 49ers at the Dolphins. Two teams that are alive, but barely. Whoever loses this game their season is over, right? The Dolphins really shit the bed for me last week. I thought they were going to be able to. They were playing in Houston against the Texans, right? But I thought they were going to be able to get that offense going a little bit. I think they only scored 12 damn points, 2 through 3 picks in a must-win game. It just shows you that Dolphins team, they just don't have the fight in them. They just don't have the grit in them. They do not have the fight. They just don't have what it takes to be a winning football team. They just don't. That's why I'm taking the 49ers and the +1 points in my opinion.
Yep, the +1 is a good one. I think the Dolphins want to play golf early down in that big sunny weather.
Yeah, they just don't have the grit to fight through a 17-game season in my opinion. I don't know. I just don't see it enough. When it matters, I just don't see it enough. I'm going with the 49ers and the +1. You're going to go with the 49ers and the +1?
Yeah, get 49ers.
All right, next up, guys, we got the Jaguars and the Raiders. The best game of the week.
Jaguars and the Raiders. Who's going to lose this one or give it away?
Can they both lose? Is it possible for them both to lose?
This is going to probably end up as a tie.
Yeah, seriously. But Mac Jones threw for almost 300 yards last week against the Jets. Doug Peterson has Mac Jones playing pretty damn good. It's so weird that he's figuring out Mac Jones but can't figure out the Trevor Lawrence thing. That makes no sense to me. But the Raiders, no Max Crosby, that good pass rusher. One of the better pass rushers in the NFL. He's done for the year. Desmond Ridder is not that guy. I do like Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers at tight end, but that's not going to be enough. I think the Jaguars just have a better team. They're just better. I think they're just a better football team. They're playing better right now.
I think the Jaguars win it.
Yeah, I think the Jaguars win it too. I'm going to go with the Jaguars and the +1.
Got to go, like you said, this is probably the worst game on TV this week.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, guys, now we have the Sunday night football game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who've been kicking some serious ass lately, and the Dallas Cowboys, who looked a little bit better last week versus the Panthers, who were playing pretty good. The few prior weeks, right? But they came back down to earth. The Cowboys defense looked a lot better. I think Cooper Rush threw 3 touchdown passes for the first time in his career. So that's a little impressive, but this Buccaneers team is just rolling right now. Baker Mayfield he's got that juice, man. He's got the juice. The team wants to play for Baker Mayfield. It just goes to show you, when you have a warrior at the quarterback position, it just gets all the guys up, man. He gets people riled up, ready to play, ready to kick some ass. People want to run through the wall for Baker Mayfield. That's why I'm taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the -4. But, real quick, Antoine Winfield, the safety, is still banged up. He's a big part of that defense. But Mike Evans is playing a lot better. The offensive line's starting to look healthy. So that's why I like the Buccaneers. What are your thoughts on this Cowboys team?
Sometimes the Buccaneers, they're playing really good, but sometimes they look like they never played a game in their life.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, from a betting perspective, I wouldn't be effing around with this game. You're 100% right. Tampa Bay, sometimes I put some juice on them, and then they look like complete dog shit. But Baker's been playing good the last few weeks, so I'm going to ride that momentum. I'm taking the Buccaneers and the -4.
I'm going with the Cowgirls. Come on, the Cowgirls.
The Cowgirls have not been great at home this year, so we'll see if they can get some momentum going. The defense looked a lot better last week. It looks like Cooper Rush is kind of starting to get comfortable in this offense a little bit. I think it's a close game. It's a really fun game to watch. Like, I don't know if I could lay -200 on the Buccaneers. I'm avoiding this game at all costs.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet this game.
I'm not effing around with this game at all. All right, NFL fans, now we're going to wrap up Week 16 with a game that in the beginning of the season you could probably get excited for Monday night. But now, the Saints, the Packers, that's a big line though, man. 14 points. I love the Packers. I think they kicked the shit out of the Saints, but 14 points is a big spread. Could the Saints get some garbage time points? But they looked awful last week. Jake Hayner, or whatever the hell his name is, he got benched. Spencer Rattler came in. He played a little bit better. But without Derek Carr, this team is lost. 14 points is a big-ass spread.
That's too much.
But it's in Green Bay. We've got a team. The Saints are used to playing in the Dome. It's going to be cold as shit in Green Bay.
Yeah, you got to go with Green Bay with the 14.
I don't want to do it, but I got to agree with you, man.
Might be snowing up there.
It's cold as shit, and the Saints are used to playing in the Dome in the South. It's warm there. It's so cold. And these horrible quarterbacks got to go throw the ball in that cold-ass weather. And if you ever played ball, there's nothing worse. I'm from Pennsylvania, so when I played high school football, when you're freezing your ass off and you catch a helmet to the hands, oh, man, that's the fucking worst. So I got to go with the Packers in the -14, even though it's a huge spread. Another game, I'm not interested in betting this game at all whatsoever. But I'm going to take the Packers in the -14.
I take the Packers in the 14, and I think they win it outright, big time.
Oh, man, -14 is a huge number, though.
I think they beat the spread easy.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this video. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm putting out tons of content as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. Tommy kicked my ass last week. We'll see if I can return the favor this week, get my steak dinner back. We'll have to see how it goes. We'll make a video and see who gets treated to a steak dinner. Let's toast it up. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Merry, have a great Christmas.
All right, guys, enjoy the holiday season. Merry Christmas. I cannot wait for the playoffs to start. They're going to be a lot of fun this year. I'm just hoping we don't get another Chiefs Super Bowl win.
I don't think the Chiefs are going to make it.
Yeah, they're banged up. They're kind of running on fumes right now. We'll see what happens.
They're a very good team, but I think they might get to the second round of the playoffs and lose.
I'm just hoping there's a way that they can't get this bye. I hope they lose this week and maybe lose next week without Mahomes, lose the first round bye, so they got to play more games. It's so easy when you have the first round bye. You win, 2 games, and it's like,
that's it.
That's it.
Going to the big one.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, guys. Thanks again. Thanks for Tom for coming in and hanging out.
Thank
you.
We
appreciate you guys. Peace.